I told our staff during our New Year's prayer meeting that I felt in the scripture there's a description of a burning in a part of the Middle East that I think would encompass Saudi Arabia, that there would be burning pitch. In other words, the oil wells, the great deposits of petroleum would be on fire. Well, I tell you what, today there's a story, a video of how it could happen. I want to show you this map because I know people think it's important. Right here, where's the camera? Okay, there we go. This little thing here is the Persian Gulf. Okay. Now here's Iran sitting up here, and here's the Harg oil depot that they've got there, and here's Ras Tanur, the big Saudi. Now over here is Yemen. It doesn't show up in this map, but this is Yemen, and Yemen goes all the way down the Arabian Peninsula. Now here are the oil fields. Here, Ras Tanur is their big oil refinery. Now, this video is indicating that there are people in Iran, they're Iranian, or maybe they're from ISIS, who are targeting these fields out of Yemen. You see right here, that extra green, that's Yemen, right adjoining this area. Okay, it's so close. Everything is so close, but that looks like it may be going to happen. So just fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Terry?
Not a far-fetched
idea
not far-fetched
by a long
at
shot. All, no.
Well, the video of the things that Pat's talking about gives an indication of what a war between Iran and the Saudis could look like. And it highlights growing tension between those two Middle East giants. Chris Mitchell's going to bring us the story from Jerusalem.
The animated video simulates an Iranian rocket attack using missiles fired from Yemen. The attack is designed to cripple Saudi Arabia on multiple fronts. The video states that it's a response to the hallucinations and empty threats of the Saud clan, and that the arm of vengeance of the Islamic world will emerge from the sleeve of the Yemenis. The video reveals the GPS coordinates of Saudi Arabia's main oil facility at the Gower field, then shows the missiles destroying the Saudi Aramco facility and setting the area on fire. It also simulates attacks on Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, that it calls the Freemason Tower. Then it shows missiles striking the Saudis' main airbase and crippling its anti-missile system. An Iranian expert told CBN News the group behind the film doesn't get funding from the government, but it is affiliated with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps and gets its inspiration from them. The rivalry between Sunni Saudi Arabia and Shiite Iran intensified when the Saudis executed a top Shiite cleric. Iran followed by allowing protesters to ransack the Saudi Arabian embassy in Tehran, prompting Saudi Arabia to cut diplomatic relations. Pakistan then weighed in on the side of the Saudis, saying they would wipe Iran off the map if Iran threatened the territorial integrity of Saudi Arabia. The concern for many in the region is that the rivalry between the two Middle East titans will escalate from a video to a direct confrontation on the battlefield. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, now that hasn't happened yet, ladies and gentlemen, but it could. Read Isaiah 24 is right in there. But I was reading that, and the Lord spoke to me. I think this is it. This is what's going to happen. And I told our staff on New Year's Day prayer meeting, that's what's going to happen. Lo and behold, within days of my announcement of that on the air, the Saudis and the Iranians began to have a fight over that cleric that was executed in Saudi Arabia. And now this video, now the video, well, it just shows in such graphic details how it could happen. And you see the Saudi fields are moving in that area, the Shiite-controlled areas, essentially, not controlled, but Shiite, the predominant population of Shia. It's right down on that part of Saudi Arabia. Vast, vast fields of oil. That Gower field is absolutely gigantic, and it's just loaded. And if that gets hit and begins to burn, We can't conceive of anything like that. Now, Joel Rosenberg was here the other day, and I liked his emphasis. He speaks of the apocalyptic Muslims. He said they're radical and apocalyptic, and I like that. Because I've been pointing out, and you've been seeing on this program, about their belief in the Mahdi, the 12th Imam, who, according to the Shia lore, is to come back in the last days when the world is in chaos. And so in order to bring back the Mahdi, there's got to be chaos. You see, Jesus Christ told us when you preach the gospel in the whole world and bring people to salvation, then the end's going to come. But with them, when you destroy everything you can get your hands on, then the Mahdi will come. And that is their apocalyptic vision. And they would not mind destroying Israel, all of it. They would not mind wiping out Saudi Arabia, all of it. They would not mind a missile strike against Iran itself and taking out a half of the population. They wouldn't mind that as long as it brought back the Mahdi. When you have people who are under that kind of an apocalyptic delusion, don't think you're going to negotiate your way out of it. You're not. And it's a delusion on the part of our president and the Secretary of State if they think they're going to talk the Iranians out of their deeply held religious views. So this video's out, and our staff thought it might be a fun thing. It'd be an interesting thing for you to see about how it actually could happen. Well, in other news, deadly terrorist attacks today in the world's most heavily populated Muslim nation, Indonesia. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. Here's John.
Thanks, Pat. At least 7 people, including 5 of the gunmen, are dead after those coordinated attacks in Indonesia. Police said they imitated the deadly terrorism in Paris. Attackers set off explosions at a Starbucks in a bustling shopping area in Jakarta and then engaged in gun battles with police for more than 2 hours. A local station reported at least 2 more explosions in other parts of the capital. The attacks came after several warnings in recent weeks by the police that Islamic militants were planning something big. You can find out more about this story and the Christian response in Indonesia by going to our website, cbnnews.com. Well, North Korea is the most dangerous country in the world for Christian persecution, with Iraq and Eritrea not far behind. That's according to the newest World Watch list of Christian persecution. Abigail Robertson brings us that story.
Global conflicts and terror movements made 2015 the worst year for religious persecution in modern history. Open Doors named the 50 most dangerous countries in the world for Christians, gathering information from people on the ground.
In the 5 areas that we measure, violence against Christians, discrimination, pressure, all of these different things, it's just more difficult in every continent, in every country.
In 2015, global Christian persecution substantially increased. For the 14th year in a row, North Korea remains the top most dangerous country in the world for Christians, with the other 9 out of 10 countries topping this list being controlled by some form of Islamic extremist government. And that extremism is expanding, becoming the lead generator of persecution for 35 of the 50 countries.
We need to identify that not every Muslim is an extremist, but we still have to know that the Muslim community needs to speak to extremism within its community because it is greatly affecting violence against Christians.
Gladys, a Kenyan Christian, became involved with Open Doors after the terror group Al-Shabaab mutilated her husband with a machete for being a pastor. She moved quickly to forgive them as the first part of her mourning process.
The journey of forgiveness started immediately. Once you forgive, it's like you release yourself. You open up to God to work to you, in you.
Gladys says while the situation is getting worse, she believes non-extremist Muslims are beginning to stand with Christians to help protect religious liberties in Kenya. Open Doors is asking President Obama to make this issue a priority in his final year in office. Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thanks, Abby. Well, here at home, Republican presidential candidates take the debate stage tonight, less than 3 weeks before the first voting takes place. It could be a crucial moment for any candidate who stands out in the crowd. David Brody has this story from Charleston, South Carolina.
Down here in the South, where grits, God, and guns reign supreme, Candidate Ted Cruz was serving up a perfect tone.
If we defend the Judeo-Christian values that built America, if we come together as we the people, then we will bring back, we will restore that last best hope for mankind, that shining city on a hill that is the United States of America.
Cruz brings momentum into this debate. He has a slim lead in Iowa and hopes his performance here will add to his political mojo. His political nemesis, Donald Trump, remains the clear leader in national polls, and he's been working crowds to provide Southern comfort as well.
We're going to win so much, you're going to beg me. You're going to say, Mr. President, we're so tired of winning, we can't take it anymore. Please don't win anymore. Mr. President, please have 1 or 2 losses. And I'll say, no, I won't do that. I won't do that because we are going to make America so great again.
While Trump and Cruz receive the majority of the headlines, you can expect Marco Rubio, Chris Christie, and Jeb Bush to also conduct some verbal combat tonight as well. That's because they all want to sound as anti-establishment as possible, hoping to be in that final mix when all is said and done. While Rubio doesn't have to necessarily win an early state like Iowa or New Hampshire, he does need a strong showing. He came to South Carolina a day early to reach voters here, since the Palmetto State is another early primary battle.
I'm asking you for your vote and your support. I need you not just to vote for me, but find other people to vote for me. This is an important election. The stakes could not be higher.
The main stage will be more cozy because low poll numbers have bumped Carly Fiorina and Rand Paul off of it. Fiorina will appear on the undercard debate, while Senator Paul plans to skip the debate entirely. David Brody, CBN News, in Charleston, South Carolina.
And a programming note, Donald Trump will be appearing for a Regent University Presidential Forum on February 24th. Pat will be asking him about the key issues in this year's presidential election. And Pat, I'm sure that will be a colorful conversation.
Well, it'll be colorful. Donald and I have been buddies for a long time. I first met him at I was praying for Evander Holyfield in a heavyweight fight up at the Trump Mahal Casino in Jersey City, and it was quite a time. But I got to know Donald then, and he's a friend. He's a force of nature. So we'll see what happens. But right now he's winning. But I might add, George Bush is coming up. They say excuse me, not George, Jeb. He's coming in second in New Hampshire, according to some of his internal information. And Kasich is moving up, and well, it's an interesting field, and we'll see what happens. But we're honored at Regent University to have various ones of these candidates express their points of view. I think it's extremely good for the students to hear what they have to say, and for all of us to be able to show you that on television so you could make an informed decision. John?
Well, Pat, investors on Wall Street are hoping for a sustained rebound after another murderous sell-off Thursday. Traders are beginning to wonder if 2016 will be a bad year for stocks. And despite some good economic reports, there are concerns about a global economic slowdown that could hurt the U.S. economy. Dale Hurd has a story.
Global stock markets sank almost across the board today as pessimism continued over falling oil prices and another dive on Wall Street, despite some data showing economies are on the mend. The dismal start to 2016 on Wall Street got a lot worse Wednesday when the Dow closed down more than 364 points. There's a saying in the market that data cannot overcome sentiment. And even some good economic news cannot seem to overcome the fact that investors have a bad feeling about this market. Oil prices at 12-year lows. Great news for drivers, but not for the U.S. oil industry. And a volatile start to 2016 in China's stock and currency markets have unleashed a wave of negativity among investors. Some analysts say a correction in stock prices is inevitable after years of gains with few serious pullbacks. January is usually a reliable indicator of how the year goes. If the market falls in January, that's a sign it could well be down for the year. And halfway through January, it looks like we could see a down market in 2016. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Now, Pat, investors were hoping for 3 straight days of gains, and of course those hopes were dashed.
I think that it's a fool's errand. You know, I thought when the IMF put the Chinese yuan or the renminbi into the basket of currencies for the whole world, it seemed like there was a shot in the arm that the Chinese economy was going to take off. Instead of that, it's just filled with rot. The stock market, so many of the companies have been kept afloat by government subsidies. And now the government is beginning to withdraw those subsidies, and these companies are starting to show their weakness, and a lot of them are going to go bankrupt. But what's happening is that their value on the Shanghai exchange particularly has gone down dramatically. And that surprised me, and it surprised a lot of people. But, you know, you ask yourself, where is the engine of growth? And right now, it doesn't exist. The United States is probably the best place right now. The United States dollar is the strongest currency right now. But we've got this hideous debt load to take care of. So it's not going to be a pretty year. And people have asked me, what do you invest your money in? I honestly don't know. But I say over and over again, if you can find well-run companies that have strong finances and which have a long history of paying substantial dividends, then that would probably be the best place to put your money. But I sure wouldn't be out speculating. John?
Pat, a short documentary filmed by David Darg of Operation Blessing has been nominated for an Oscar. The film is called Body Team 12. It was filmed in Liberia in 2014 during the height of the Ebola outbreak. Darg was directing Operation Blessing's efforts on the ground to set up the first chlorine production facility in that country's history. Now, chlorine was used to help fight the Ebola outbreak. The film chronicles a team of body collectors working with the Liberian Red Cross who remove dead bodies from homes and villages and take them to be burned to prevent the spread of the virus. Body Team 12 will be shown on HBO in early March. The film has helped raise $60,000 for Operation Blessing's Ebola orphan program. You can find out more about this story on cbnnews.com. And Pat, all of us are very proud of David and all of Operation Blessing.
David is on the front lines. I mean, you know, he's Peter Darg. Peter used to be here with us in our headquarters area. And David's his son, and I mean, Peter's his son, and he's just doing a fantastic job. He's very creative. So he's got his camera. We showed a picture of him essentially out in the waters of the refugees coming in from into Turkey and Greece and that area. So we're there on the front lines.